flashbacks of the giant wasp from the morning. Suzanne told me to stop being stupid because I was ruining her night out.
A night out in a cab. Brilliant. Oh,
what was it, her birthday?
And flashbacks from an incident.
Yeah.
Like he's some sort of like war veteran. What is it? It's the wasp. It could have killed a kitten.
Bought some wallpaper. We got back and got on with it. The wall that we've papered before has got a big mirror under it. We papered on top of it again. I ended up reading the phrase book while Suzanne did the rest of the tidying up. Now, what's your phrase book? This is just you trying to master English, is it?
It's just a book that tells you little sayings and how they came about.
An interesting phrase is potluck. It came about when all people ate is stews. They used to chuck all sorts of stuff into the stew. You stuck your spoon in and sometimes you got something nice like beef, or you could end up with a bit of frog. It's potluck.
Good, that, isn't it?
That's what it said in the book, did it?
A bit of frog.
Got up and checked the wallpaper out. There are loads of air bumps and it's buckled on the joins. I wish we'd never done it. Suzanne said the washer was broke and it's out of its warranty. She called up the people who made it and they said it will cost £150 to fix. I don't know how they know that when they haven't even seen it. I want to smash it to bits and see what they can do for 150 quid. So much anger.
I want to smash it to bits. That'd be great, wouldn't it? 150, you sure?
Yeah.
Come round.
Yeah.
And it's just like a cube that's been through one of those car crushers.
Yeah.
150 quid, there's 150 quid, fix it.
I watched the news and calmed down a bit because there was a story about some Siamese twins who are having an operation. They've got 2 heads, 4 arms, 2 legs, 1 liver. The doctor said they will have 1 leg each. I felt bad worrying about the washer when people have bigger problems like the Siamese twins. Ricky and Steve asked me to do a poem about 1 day a week, so I thought I'd do one today. I can't obviously do it justice, so I should let the master read it.
You've done another poem?
Yeah, you said, just do one. If you have a day where you've had a lot of emotions.
Well, I loved the poem, and so did the listeners, and I knew they would. So if you can do that every week, that'd be a joy for me.
You can't force a poem, though.
No, I know.
A diary's easy to do because you just write down what you're doing.
But you've got to have some really meaty subject matter to be able to write a poem, Rick, as you'll discover.
I know.
Right, so, you've heard what problems I had that day.
Go on then.
Bubbled wallpaper. What a mess. Washer dry and knackered. What a mess. Siamese twins separated. 1 leg less.
I don't know what rhyming scheme that is again. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, fuck me. Well, there you go. That's the end of episode 2 of series 3 of the Ricky Gervais Show. More next week. More drivel, more diary, another poem, I hope.
Maybe.
Just more news and stuff from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Goodbye.
And Carl Pilkington.
Right.
Hello, welcome to number 3 in the 3rd series of the Ricky Gervais Show. With me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello there.
And of course, Carl Pilkington.
Right.
Had a good week, Carl?
Alright, just boring. It's a boring week. Because that sort of kidney operation I've had, it's just affecting my life in a big way.
How are you now, Carl? Are you feeling better?
Better than what was last week.
Because last week you really were not putting the effort in, were you?
And it's your own fault. You got kidney stones, you don't drink enough water.
That's what I've been doing this week. Just drinking. You said what sort of a week have you had? What have you been up to? That's what I've done. I've drank water. That's all I've been doing. If there's a water shortage in London, it's because of that. Honestly, just that's what you have to do. It's just boring. Just like a basking shark, just sort of with its mouth open, just going through the water. I'm sick of it.
Oh, he's led the life of plankton for 1 week.
Have you been able to do anything, or have you just been resting?
It's best to rest, just because your body's still in shock. Even though in the head, physically, I thought it was all right. The body sort of just acts in weird ways.
Brilliant.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like I said last week, you don't think about your body until there's something up with it, and then you panic a bit, and you go, right, I'm going to look after it from now on. I've been given a second chance here.
As I said before, this was not a life-threatening illness or operation.
No, but it's that same thing. The last time I had it was when I nearly choked to death on the Mr. Freeze Pop,
Right.
where I had that sort of, what do they call it when you have like a second coming? Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing where
I
you
don't
go,
think you're the second coming.
no, but that thing of...
If you are, we're all screwed.
You mean the second chance?
Yeah, it's a second chance thing.
Your life flashes before you, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you get you suddenly feel kinder. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, you sort of go, right, that was a bit of a warning. Be
Like
good,
Scrooge?
be good to people and stuff. Yeah, a little bit. I think it's normal.
So are you now a nicer person? You've given more generously to charity and the like?
Well, I haven't been out, so I can't do anything. I can't help anyone. Yeah.
Go online.
But maybe,
donate
once...
some money, all this cash you're in.
No, I've given up. I'm sick of it. But,
So he hasn't changed at all then, no.
but you've also got to be careful as well, because there's that thing of you can drown yourself by having too much water.
Yeah.
So it's just getting that balance right of not having too much and filling yourself up. And
Well,
at
yeah,
the
it's
same
that balance, right, of not dehydrating and becoming like a desert jellyfish, like a little crisp, and drowning yourself.
Yeah.
You're right, it is a balance. That's exactly what you got to do.
I don't know how you've managed it, Carl. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
No, but
What I do is I when I'm thirsty, I drink, and when I'm not thirsty, I don't.
yeah, but that's the problem with me. Whatever it is that's in your head that says you should have a drink, I don't really have one.
It's called a brain.
It's called a brain. Yeah.
It's the brain that tells you. Yeah.
But my brain's never thirsty. I only think of drinking when I'm eating, and I'm not eating as much because my kidney's weird. I don't want to put any pressure on it, so I don't drink. So now, if I have it in front of me all the time, I go, right, I've got to have that.
Yeah.
So I feel a bit better.
Good.
Just it's just been a long week, because when you don't do much, it's just time doesn't whiz by.
And normally your weeks are packed, as we know, with visits to the cobblers.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like they say, innit? They say.
Following an ant.
Exactly, yeah. You've got a hectic schedule.
I know.
But-
I don't know
but
how you fit it all in.
But because I was close to death and everything,
You weren't close to death.
I've been thinking about other people who've been in that situation where they're dying and what have you. And it's weird how, like, in a way, do you know, like they say before you die, things to do?
Yeah.
I think
I've never
it's
heard that
best-
sentence before. I don't know if they say.
Well, I've extrapolated from that. What you mean is there are certain things you should do before you die. Swim with dolphins, etc.
Yeah, but in a way, because I've had such a boring week, it's been a long week. So if I was dying, don't go swim with dolphins because you'll love it and the time will whiz by, and you go, oh, there's another day gone. Whereas I've been sat at home watching, Price is Right and stuff, and it's just like, oh, it's only 4 o'clock. Oh, this is dragging. So if I was dying, I'd go, yeah, it's dragging, but I've got ages more left to live.
Yeah.
But what's the point?
But it's surely about quality of existence, isn't it, when you're dying?
No, but anyway, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Been a boring week. But what I've been doing is going on the internet, sort of learning stuff, been
course.
watching more documentaries about stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, tell me something you watched on the internet then.
The thing that stands out the most, there's this spider
Right.
that a fella got, popped it in like a little sort of bottle,
Yeah.
and chucked in 80 ants, and the spider, right, just went mental. And I don't know if the spiders eat ants. I don't know if they do, but he wasn't happy with them that they were there, and he was just whizzing around, sort of biting them, not eating them, just giving them a bite, and the ants would sort of just lie there dead. And spider had this system of sort of going, right, I'm going to put the dead ones over there, and it was biting them, dragging them across, putting them in a pile, killing another one, popping it in the pile, and by the end of it, it made like a little pile of dead ants, and he was just there sort of breathing heavily. And that was amazing, because I've never witnessed that before. But you don't see that happening, do you, normally?
So you think that if people are unfortunately passing away, instead of visiting Disneyland or whatever, they should
Just learn stuff. Just
sure
make you
get on the
think
internet and watch
this world
spiders
is amazing.
attacking ants.
And just that thing of, last week you were saying how good ants were and how they're brainy and they work hard and everything. Yet none of them they didn't know what they were doing. There was panic going on. You watched them again, they were running backwards and forwards, and I remember seeing a programme about ants where they're meant to sort of work together as a team, and if they climb up a person's leg, that person stood on their house, say, and they're all like, oh.
There's a signal and they all bite at the same time.
They all bite at once. Now, if that had done that on that spider, they sort of all go on it, and when they're all in position, one of them sort of goes, no, and it bites, and then it would do some damage, but there was none of that.
But you've seen things like the Towering Inferno, where even humans panic crazily and jump out of windows and things until Steve McQueen comes along and saves the day. So
yeah, but at the end of the day, when you're in a Towering Inferno, you were there relaxing on holiday. So, of course, you're going to be relaxed, and the shock of it's going to make you go, oh, I wasn't ready for that. I was sat here in my trunks. Whereas that ants should always be alert.
Well, yeah.
Any insect's life should always be...
What, so for a human scooping up 80 of them, putting them in a bottle with a giant spider?
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's what insects do. Their life, they never relax. That's what's weird with an insect. There's no downtime, is there? It's you wake up, you go and get the food, you build your house. That's what you do, so you're always alert. They shouldn't be sort of running around going, well, what do we do now? That should be in them.
I love the fact you're annoyed at these poor ants that were bitten to death.
But also, they say they're clever. I was looking at it. If I was an ant, I would have just crawled and sat under there, wait for the spiders to go. None of them were doing that. They were all staying on one side and the dead ones on the other. So I'm just saying that, you're always sticking up for insects, saying they know what they're doing. They don't.
What do you mean? Where's this come from? When have I ever stuck up for insects? It's you that's follow them and saying they're brilliant and that, and ladybirds are right-handed and Christ knows what.
No, but, so I'd learnt that.
Brilliant. You haven't learnt anything.
There's nothing to learn from
There's
that,
nothing you learnt from that.
Something about jellyfish, and what else was there? There was a programme on the telly about survival, and a fella who he looks after elephants, and he's in this little hang glider looking for an elephant that he's looking after. He has to keep a track on where it's going and all that. And one day he's saying, oh, I haven't seen the elephant today, and the fella's like, look for it tomorrow. He's like, no, it's best if I don't look for it now, because it might go further away or something. He said, oh, I wish you'd leave it till tomorrow. So straight away you're going, oh, this is trouble. So he's going out in his glider sort of that night. He's looking for
I doubt it's a glider.
It's a glider with an engine. It's one of
a light aircraft then.
Yeah. So he gets in that on his own. He's wandering about in the air, looking down. Like I say, it's loads of land. He's looking for one elephant. He's not having much luck. Anyway, I think he gets to a point when he goes, oh, I'm having no luck, I might as well go home. Goes to turn round. Something happens. The glider falls to the floor, crashes.
Light aircraft.
Yeah. That crashes. He gets out. He's broke his legs. Done his back in. His hands. I mean, he's in a bad way. And he looks at the plane, and that's a wreck. Petrol's coming out of it. He's thinking that's not going to fly again. And he has to lie there, doesn't he, for like 48 hours or something. And in that time, everything's being chucked at him. He has a lion wandering around him. A scorpion walked over his leg. Some sort of dangerous snake went in his shoe. What else is there out there? Some sort of bad ants. Just everything that's there that could cause a problem. He had it all in his life.
I haven't seen this, but I suspect there's a lot of conjecture in this telling of it.
Bad ants.
Bad ants.
No, just anything that you could think of that's out there to cause you a bit of a problem.
Camels.
He got hot. He got so hot his lips fell off. No, because you have to have a lot of juice to keep your lips sort of how they are.
Right.
So that's the sort of state he was in.
Yeah.
48 hours. And yet he survived in the end. Someone came and found him.
And you thought you were bored doing nothing.
Yeah, no, well,
he didn't even have the internet.
Yeah, but he had a lot of insects.
What would you do then if you landed, right? Supposing we all land, right? we're shipwrecked. Okay, there's no food around, but there's a chance we might be saved, like in a few days. We just got to stay alive just for a few days. Okay. Steve offers up his penis.
For what purpose?
Well, it's already you've torn it in the car in the plane crash anyway, so it's hanging off. You go, okay, listen, lads, let's eat this. This will go 3 ways.
I should be so lucky. Okay, fine, yeah.
I'll look for something else. Because we're surrounded by water. Why are we eating knob? There's loads of fish and everything. There's more fish in the sea than there is stuff on land. That was something else that I've read about how there's more sea life happening. There's loads more.
What do you mean? Than what?
Than stuff happening on land.
Well, yeah, it's a bigger place, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's more. They're all coming further in because it's getting so crowded. Everything's being pushed outwards. So we're going to get to a point where people won't go walking in the sea because there'll be something deadly just floating about near the shore.
Again, that's no information at all.
I don't know.
There's no information in that statement at all.
Yeah, I said how the sea is so overcrowded that everything's being pushed to the edge.
It's not overcrowded.
It is.
You mean things that are in the sea are being pushed to the edge of the sea?
Yeah, because there's new stuff happening all the time. There's new creatures being made. They're changing quickly. They were saying how, like, I don't know, 50 years ago, jellyfish didn't even have a sting.
That's rubbish. Try 50 million and you'll get closer to the truth.
But what I mean is, in terms of like land, we all look the same, don't we? We've had 2 legs and 2 arms for ages. Whereas in the sea, things are changing at a really fast rate. So like jellyfish were knocking about.
The sea is a much more stable environment than the land anyway.
What are you on about?
Well, I wouldn't have thought evolution is any faster in the sea than land.
Yeah, it's.
Well, no, what's the evidence for this?
The
I'm
internet.
telling you now. I'm telling you how jellyfish have changed. And look at them.
And how have they changed then? So 50 years ago they didn't have a sting.
Yeah.
Now they have.
Yeah.
Trilbies, they wore trilbies 50 years ago as
Yeah.
well.
And they just spoke with a much more, refined accent.
Just that is quite a lot, though, isn't it? Because jellyfish are nothing.
But
like
no,
I
you
said to
made that
before.
up. That's not a fact. There's no facts come out of this discussion. Not oh, that's interesting. That you haven't said anything. Jellyfish haven't changed in 50 years.
No, they have. They've changed a lot in terms of.
Well, they haven't changed in hundreds of millions of years. So I don't know what the 60s had to do with anything. I just don't know what influence the Beatles and Mary Quant suddenly had on jellyfish, where they hadn't
Because
changed for hundreds of
All
millions
this-
of years.
With all this sort of loose, free sex, free love,
Yeah.
they were just going berserk.
No, yeah.
There were no inhibitions amongst the jellyfish anymore.
Things are changing a lot. To think that jellyfish, when they first came out, they were nothing. Jellyfish are nothing, aren't they? They're just a blob. So,
When they first came out,
I
when
know.
they were first released.
and,
by Roncal.
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, even though they were nothing, they've grown to have a bit of something, just to get by in a busy place.
I
Which
don't
is the
know
sea.
what you're talking about. It's
It-
all guesswork and
It's
conjecture.
not guesswork. I've been
It's
that
all
for a week. I've been reading
nonsense.
all this and watching stuff.
Carl, you haven't learned anything.
Well, that's not entirely true because he's obviously learnt enough to have written a poem about some of these subjects.
Oh, I love his poems. Are you getting into poetry now, properly?
I really like it. Yeah.
Is Carl going to read this for me, Steve?
If you want him to.
I think so.
I did one about my kidneys.
What was it called?
Didn't have a name. It doesn't need it.
Ode to a Nephron.
Right, I did 2 about jellyfish.
Excellent.
I don't like jellyfish. They're not a fish. They're just a blob. They don't have eyes, fins, or scales like a cod. They float about blind, stinging people in the seas. And no one eats jellyfish with chips and mushy peas. Get rid of them. And then there's just a shorter one I did about a jellyfish. It would be spiteful to put jellyfish in a trifle.
Yeah, it certainly would.
So,
That's great. That's really good. Because it's jelly. He's done us this.
Yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
That's a really good poem. It would be spiteful to put jellyfish in a trifle.
Yeah.
A little half rhyme.
Yeah.
Do you want the one about my kidneys?
Yeah.
For God's sake, me belly ache. The doctor said it's me kidney. He said he's got to stick a tube up my knob. I said, you got to be kidding me. For God's sake, knob ache.
Oh God! I'm sort of mildly disappointed that they're quite good.
Yeah, yeah.
No poet's ever written about jellyfish and kidneys. It's great. Oh God, I think you might have the market sewn up there. It would be spiteful to put a jellyfish in a trifle. I mean, I'm both impressed and fascinated and worried by Carl's new literary outlook.
Yeah.
You know, we've said to him, we've tried to make him appreciate the arts and poetry and explaining like what metaphor does and symbolism and all that. But I'm worried it'll backfire, because what if he becomes clever and erudite and then we lose our little endless well of stupidity? What if we lose our little shaved monkey? I mean, these podcasts without,
It's almost like you were evolving into a human.
I mean, you've authored a book.
Well, I have to say, I mean, without at the risk of sounding like we're shamelessly promoting it, I've only just looked at the book today, because that's the first time I've seen it, The World of Carl Pilkington, and I was very impressed by how legitimate it feels. I mean, it does feel like an actual
Well,
book.
he's put so much work into it. I mean,
He's done drawings, he's done extra thoughts and ideas, and it's very odd to think that has probably gone now into the British Library, which I think is obligated to take a copy of every book published.
Incredible.
I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to be on anyone's bookshelf. It'll be on their lavatory cistern, possibly next to their bed. But nevertheless, it's hardback and it's got pages. It's a real book.
Yeah.
Will you now read some great works? Will you read poetry at all? Or?
Probably not. I don't like reading made-up stories, because
Fiction.
life's interesting enough, innit?
Right.
If I'm going to read someone else's lies, I might as well make some of my own up and save me money. Is what I mean.
But you do read lies and made-up things. You just take them as the truth. Most of the spurious facts and apocryphal tales and ridiculous stories that you read on the internet are, fiction.
Yeah, but as long as it gets you thinking, then it really doesn't matter. Say, like, I was telling you about the sea being full up,
Yeah.
right? How there's too many fish in it, and they're all being pushed out. Then, it was saying about how the jellyfish is changing
Yeah.
from a bit back, just being a blob, to now being a blob with stingy bits. You go, and then...
No, I don't. I wonder what he read. I
And
wonder
then,
what he was reading
then
there.
I'll think of what other things are in the sea, how are they changing? And then that's when I might do a poem about an octopus with two heads. Because it's got me thinking. So no longer am I just reading someone else's story, spending a full week reading some other story. I've read a little paragraph, and that's got me thinking about
And it's
an
inspired
octopus
you to make great art.
with an octopus with two heads. And you just think, yeah, that would work. That's a good way for them to evolve. They've got all the arms, give them two heads.
They've got all the arms.
And, it would work, because like I've said to you before, it is one big head, to make it two smaller heads. So it's just looking at science, looking at how things can move.
It's not looking at
But it's
science.
not looking at science. You then speculating on an octopus having two heads is of no value, is it, to anyone or anything?
But there's people out there who are bringing out books who are writing stuff like that for sci-fi stuff. And I think, why am I reading
But that's
theirs?
entertainment. Everyone knows it's not true. They're doing it to...
But they do more than just say, wouldn't it be great if there was an octopus with two heads? They then paint a world in which this octopus exists
I
and
can do
presumably
that.
causes some kind of narrative interest.
I can do that on my own, though, without...
So what's the story of the octopus with two heads?
It's happier in the end. Everyone likes happy ending. It's got company.
But that's not a story, Carl. What? Tell us the story.
What, you made up a story about an octopus with two heads?
No, I'm just saying. I've thought about how the sea's changing. Right, what else is in the sea? Octopus. Right, what's an octopus like? Let's just change that.
I love this thought process.
But it's not a story. This is not a story. It's not anything. It's just some thoughts you've had. It's not...
But a story is there to make you think and have thoughts.
But what is it that you've thought? You've not... I don't see what you've thought here.
I've just thought, yeah, that'd be alright.
I know, but...
Well, like King Kong then. That's only someone who's gone, oh, monkeys are getting better at stuff.
Yes, but it has a story, doesn't it? They go in search...
No, it isn't. It isn't saying monkeys are getting better at stuff. That's not what it's saying. There's lots of themes, but that's not one of them.
Monkeys are getting better at stuff.
No, they're getting better at stuff. The way they try to he tried to go out with a woman. That's them moving on, isn't it? It's the monkey going, do you know what? I quite fancy her. And you know from the beginning, I mean, that is a story that you go, well, that relationship ain't going to work. Do you know what I mean? I've not gone out with women who I've quite fancied, but then they smoke. And you go, oh, that's enough to put me off.
Yeah.
So, when a monkey's that big, the thought wouldn't even pass my mind.
To go on a date.
This could work out. Sometimes it's just, relationships are made for each other. Now, that for a story, you wouldn't think it'd go past page 1. Yet you're having a go at me because an octopus has got 2 heads. Which isn't that weird. When you look at them anyway, I mean, it must be the weirdest thing knocking about on the planet. I'm not kidding you. I've never seen anything so weird. And yet...
He's angry because he's not seen anything so weird as an octopus, so
But it's not yet a story.
What's weird about it? What's strange about an octopus with all the things that could...
Why is it any weirder than a dog?
Because it couldn't be further away from us. A dog has got human eyes. If a jellyfish had a pair of eyes like ours, I probably wouldn't worry about him that much. But like I said to you, it's that way that they haven't got eyes, they're floating about. I can handle some fish, they look like us, they've got eyes, you can make eye-to-eye contact with them. A jellyfish, what are you looking at? It's a snidey thing, like I've said to you. You can see a lot in eyes. Do you know what I mean? They say, don't trust him. Why? It's his eyes. Jellyfish haven't even got any, and I don't trust them. Whereas if it had them, maybe there'd be the odd one that'd go, oh, that one's all right.
Okay, Carl, I'm just going to throw an animal at you. Tell me how weird it is, what bits annoy you, how you'd change it. Okay? A crab.
How would I change it?
Yeah. Does it annoy you? Do you think it's weird?
They are weird, but they're at that size where they can get away with it.
Yeah, it suits them. Okay, good.
Would I change anything? In a way, what you're saying about things not working, he can't walk forwards. So
But-
why hasn't something happened? Why haven't they said, do you know what, these arms are too clumsy? We need to have them so they can slot away easier, and we can pull them out when we need them, instead of clumping around with them. Because they do struggle. You see them struggling with their arms. Yet they're still here, they're still doing that, they're still designed that way.
What's the weirdest animal? So you think the octopus is the weirdest animal on Earth?
Yeah. In terms of design and everything, and if you lined everything up, say if I'd come from another planet,
Yeah.
and everything was lined up in a row, and they said, right, we're going to give you a crash course in what's knocking about on this planet.
Yeah.
And you go, right, go on then. And you go, this is man, here's woman, here's a dog, here's a cat, here's an octopus, I go, hang on a minute, what is this?
Oh, it's only going really down.
That jingle, of course, signifies another reading from Carl Pilkington's diary. There was an animal in the paper today that I've never before seen. It's called an alpaca. They are gormless looking. The fella who breeds them said they are easy to look after because they're used to harsh conditions because they normally live in the mountains. The problem with this is they will turn useless eventually, and then if we tried to bung it back on the Andes, they won't like it. It's like how people win these live like a star for a week competitions. They're not good for anyone. Okay?
Do you know what I mean? If something's living somewhere...
But he's not.
But
Gonna
why are
send
we
them
gonna
back
bung
to
it
the
back?
Andes. He's presumably breeding them for something else.
Yeah, but say if eventually, the world's getting busy, there's hardly any room, and we go, right, what can we shift here? What's getting in our way that we can shift? Well, those funny-looking things came from the Andes. Bung them back. All right, then let's put them back. And they go, oh, they don't like it. They're not surviving. They're dying out. Why did we bring them here? Oh, it was closer. Yeah, but look, we've died out now of the...
Sorry, this is an argument with
is the
yourself.
whole scenario.
This isn't happening. Don't get angry about it like it just happened and you're sick of it. None of this has happened
No,
yet.
I'm just looking at how it will happen. Leave them where they were.
But
It's
you're
like-
getting angry about things that you're speculating on now. It's absurd, Carl. Not once have
That
I
was
read
an
here about
argument
your
with
anger
yourself.
about terrorism or international, political injustice. Not once have you written about that. Only about the fact we may send animals back to the Andes.
I know, but just because it just annoyed me, that's all. They brought them here, some fella's getting a load of praise because they brought this weird animal into the country, and yet it's like, well, they were on the Andes for a reason. Leave them there. It was happier there. I mean, I feel guilty when I open a bag and a fly flies out of it, and I think, where's that come from?
What bag are you opening with flies? What bag?
No, just when, the bag I took the computer home in, a fly flew out of it, and I thought, when did that get in that bag? Wherever brought that from? And it's the same thing. It doesn't want to be somewhere else. It was where it was. And that's the same with this Polaco, or whatever.
Oh, God! It's amazing! It really is the ramblings of a madman, isn't it?
Some new sea thing has been found.
That's the headlines on the news.
It wasn't found by sea experts. It was found on eBay. Someone was selling it for a £5. I don't see the point in buying something that you don't know what it is.
What do you mean? What do you mean? It was...
Someone's found some sort of shell with a thing living in it.
Right.
They thought, oh, I've never seen one of these before, I can flog it on eBay. Someone bought it and then wanted to look after it, went to some sea expert, and they said, oh, I don't know what that is. That's the story. It's just weird how stuff's being found on eBay.
No, it wasn't found on eBay, though, was it?
Yeah, but that's where the specialist people sort of picked up on it. It's just weird that... I mean, all I was saying is I wouldn't want one. If you don't know how to... If it's a new creature, you don't know what makes it happy. When you get a kitten, you go, stroke its head, it loves it, right? And you can do that knowing that it's liking it. If I had a little seashell and you go, does it sit in water? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You could end up doing more damage. So that's why I wouldn't want it. It's nice to have rules in it. It's nice to know what you're doing with something.
Well, as you write in the diary, it's like if an alien landed and wanted to live with you. As much fun as it might sound, it wouldn't be long before you got annoyed with it because it wouldn't eat the food you gave it.
That's what I'm saying, but I couldn't have a go at it because it might not like pasta.
It might not.
Everyone likes pasta.
Well, that's it for another week. I hope you've enjoyed this half hour of drivel. I mean, some of the most stupid things ever said. I mean, it's like he's got a contempt now for the world. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't care what comes out of his head.
Learning can be frustrating, can't it? You know, you maybe I'm getting you thinking. Maybe on your way home today, you'll be going, octopus with two heads. And if you do that for 5 seconds, I've done my job.
Good to have a job in it. So, from me, Ricky Gervais, goodbye. From Steve Merchant
Goodbye.
and from Carl Pilkington. Hello and welcome to number 4 in the series of 6, season 3 of the Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Hello.
and Carl Pilkington.
Alright.
Yeah, first of all, I'm sorry to do this, but me and Steve have got to bring something up that's been bugging us for a couple of weeks now, but it's reached... you are so fucking lazy, Carl, at the moment. You have time off, right? You go away every weekend, so me and Steve are so precious at the moment with so many things to do, with extras and books coming out and stuff. I've never heard anyone whinge about going in with kidney stones. I know loads of people that have kidney stones.
Not like
They've had
mine.
the no. You say not like that because they've had the operation. I know people that had their appendix out, right, an actual under the knife operation, and he was back at work the next day, and he had a bit of a sore side. But you have whinged now for weeks and weeks. Everything you say, oh, I've had this, I've got to go in again. But you're still well enough to go away every weekend to see your folks or your in-laws
this is the
or
problem. This
or
is-
holiday. and it's we are so. Sometimes you've got to pull together, mate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you say keep a diary, and you said make sure you do a diary for a year.
Yeah.
If I didn't go and visit people and travel the world, what would I do in it?
Carl, I read your diary every week. All you seem to do is spend time in a cafe, having a cup of tea and a bit of breakfast.
That's the
Who
weekend. That's
are
when
you
people
constantly
do stuff.
visiting?
Anyway, let's not argue.
You don't even
People
like
want
your
to wear
family, I
arguing.
thought.
It's not my family, is it?
Well, you
Suzanne's family.
You don't
But
like
you
anyone.
work.
Why are you visiting?
But you say I'm working that weekend. I'm working that weekend. We have to put. Let's put this in first.
No,
it's a busy time.
Family's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't keep messing people
But this is
about.
all you have to do.
No,
What else are
there's
you
lots of
doing? What other job have you got?
Loads of
You know.
stuff. I don't want to go into what I'm doing, but I've got loads
But
of
all
stuff.
I hear is you're
Well,
always having meetings.
I
You're
know,
always
yeah.
going for meetings.
Yeah, I know, yeah,
I don't know what that
yeah,
means.
yeah,
Meetings.
yeah. Right, anyway.
Another meeting in a bloody cafe.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
well,
no, seriously though. So you've been on your travels. You've got lots to talk about. So
yeah, I've got to go in hospital again as well, haven't I? So,
What's your current state with your old?
I don't want to go on about it.
Well, no, I mean you've brought it up.
you're fine. You're well enough to go away. You're well enough to go on holiday. You're well enough to visit people. You went on a train. You went to Manchester. You must be well enough. So you're well enough to do this.
I went back to Bristol at the weekend. I had a bit of time off, as you know,
Nice.
because Carl couldn't do the work. So
I know.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So we all had a nice
No,
time.
well,
No, I didn't. I went to Bristol when I was working.
That's all right. But
Well,
he's
exactly.
still visiting a place, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's a ridiculous thing to say. That's like saying a pilot doesn't work because he's visiting a place.
No, because he doesn't visit it. He
No,
doesn't
you
get out
sit
the
down
plane.
on your arse. Sometimes we hire a car, so you can't be reading or studying. You're driving for 6 hours.
Yeah.
I went there working. We went to America. We were working. I went to Bristol. I was working.
Oh, shut up.
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean?
Getting a bit uppity.
The truth hurts, Stephen.
The truth does hurt, and it's interesting that
Yeah.
he suddenly snapped at you there.
I know.
Because I wondered to myself, if it weren't for you, Mr. Ricky Gervais, what would this man, this little round-headed man, be doing right now?
Fuck all, Stephen. Fuck all.
Yeah, I went back to Bristol at the weekend. As we know, we all had a bit of time off, and actually, I was quite annoyed because I passed the pub near where my parents live, and they had a band on. You know, pubs sometimes have a band on. And the name of the band, I'm disappointed that I missed them. The name of the band, Rick, was Loose Change. But what I like about Loose Change is it's the least evocative name for a band, isn't it?
It's
not
amazing.
sexy, it's nothing. It's got no kind of mood or feel to it at all. Loose Change. It's
Welcome. Rough outline.
yeah.
It's just nothing.
The checkbook stubs.
Pocket fluff.
yeah. But while I was at my parents' house, they often, they keep clippings of things. You know, if we've been mentioned in the papers, they like to keep a record of them and stuff because I like to show it to my grandparents. You know, keep fully abreast of things. And I managed to find a couple of them. This was what I don't know if you've heard this, Carl. It's, for people who don't realise, Carl was making a couple of little 3-minute, and in the Sunday Times, someone's written a letter about Carl to the Sunday Times.
Wow.
They can send in comments and views on things they've seen, read, heard.
Oh, excellent.
And this is what someone wrote to the Sunday Times. Who is Carl Pilkington? And why have I just wasted 5 minutes of my life listening to some of his cretinous thoughts on Channel 4? He asked, why are there so many dinosaurs on display in museums? Quotes, couldn't they just choose the best one and just show that? He summed it all up by deciding that we know too much. Somebody clearly doesn't know enough to know that this is a complete waste of airtime, showing no wit, intellect or creativity. That's from Wendy Robinson in Berkshire.
You can't have your critics. You know what I mean?
You've got to have your critics.
Of course you have. If everybody liked what you did, then you're not doing the right thing.
She wasted 5 minutes, and they were 3-minute wonders. So it must have felt
Yeah.
2/3 as long again.
But think how angry she must have been to have bothered writing this letter to the Sunday Times.
Well, that's good.
I mean,
though.
you
It's made
really
a
must
decent-
have-
It's all about getting people thinking. That's what I always say to you. As long as I'm getting people thinking about what I've said, she remembered what I said.
But what views did you put out in these short films which you feel people perhaps should be talking about, discussing, digesting, thinking about?
Just stuff that was in my head that day when I was filming them.
Yeah.
Is it in your head now?
Some of it is. Now you've remembered me what I said.
Now you've what?
Now you've sort of told me what I said in that one. Yeah, I remember saying that.
Yeah.
And I stick by it.
Remember him some other stuff?
Yeah.
I'll tell you now, right? This, if I don't know if Wendy's, listen to this, but
Almost certainly not.
but listen, right? I was saying about the museums, right, and how they're big and everything, and they've
Brilliant.
got dinosaurs all over the shop. I read that in that museum, they've got something like 7 million bits of stuff in there. Right? Now, when I spend 2 hours in somewhere, just show me the good stuff. Don't be saying we've got 7 million bits. Because there was a fella who opened it. Right, I did a bit of research on the museum. Fella who opened the museum up.
What was his name?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter, does it?
What museum was it?
It was the London one.
Oh, the London one, yeah. Good.
So he's in there and he's collecting all this, bits of stuff.
What stuff?
Just whatever's knocking about at that
Oh,
time.
right, okay.
It seemed like
You have researched it.
he never chucked anything away. He's like, I won't put it in the bin, pop it on a shelf.
Okay,
So
yeah.
he's put everything on a shelf in
right,
this
yeah.
museum. Then as time
I
went
think you're
on-
going into too much detail, but just give us the gist of it.
No, but all I'm saying is, he keeps everything, and if you keep everything, sometimes it'll be good stuff, right? And a lot of the stuff was going missing, the good stuff. But people who set these museums up are just as crafty.
What?
The fella who found Tutankhamun, he was pocketing all sorts of fingers and stuff in his pockets on the way out. That had rings on them and stuff. So all I'm saying is, why is she having a go?
But
She's
hang on,
learned
wait,
something.
what's that got to do with someone pocketing? I don't understand your point.
Because she's sort of moaning at me, going, "Don't have a go at the museum and the dinosaurs." But
No,
everybody,
she's having a go at your fatuous point.
Yeah, your absolutely uneducated,
But, I mean,
stupid point that
I-
you got TV time to talk absolute shit. If I could
that's not
paraphrase
my fault, is
Wendy.
it? That's not my fault. If someone says they want me to do a little program and you can do what I want, I went and did what I did. Free speech, innit?
But we just gave you the chance then to defend yourself, and you just confirmed Wendy's point 1,000 times over. What was all this waffle about people nicking stuff? What's that got to do with anything?
Because she's having a go at me. I didn't nick
But she's having
anything.
a go at you for talking nonsense that's of no consequence, which is what you just did
That's
then.
all nonsense.
But what was your point?
Oh, all right, then we'll watch Wendy's little program when that goes out. Let's see what she's got to talk about. Sick of her.
So anyway, as I say, my mother saves various clippings and things which may be of interest. This was recently in the Daily Mail, in one of those kind of gossip columns. Ricky Gervais's cringe-worthy dance routine as managerial buffoon David Brent was undoubtedly the highlight of BBC comedy The Office. Perhaps credit for the scene should not go to Gervais, however, but his lanky co-writer Stephen Merchant. For I hear that 6'7" Merchant has been attracting a great deal of female attention at the so-and-so pub in North London. Until he took to the dance floor with Brent-esque results. Says my mole, most of the feminine throng looked away in embarrassment. Putting it kindly, he was rather ungainly, like a giant albatross hopping on stilts. Right, now then, I'll take issue with this because firstly,
You wouldn't be attracting female attention in the first place.
Rick, if I had been, I'd have phoned the Mail myself. Point A, right, I seem to remember distinctly I was talking to one of my mates the whole night and we were discussing about the fact we were too shy to talk to girls. So wrong there. Point 2, as you well know, if I take to the dance floor, which on this occasion I didn't, I remember distinctly not because I love to dance, I would not have been described as a giant albatross hopping on stilts because Carl has seen me dance, you've seen me dance, you know I'm a good mover.
Yeah.
Just in the same way that people can't quite understand how Peter Crouch, the same height as me,
Yeah.
is able to be so brilliant on the football field.
Yeah.
The same people look at me when I'm dancing, they go, I don't know how that big guy is able to bust some of those kind of moves.
Yeah.
I've won 2 dance contests in my life. Those facts, those stats speak for themselves, Rick.
I know.
I mean, you've seen me dancing, how would you describe me?
I think that you look like a... Isn't an albatross, isn't it? So, you look like an upright lizard, right, being given electroshock treatment. And I think that's a lot fairer, isn't it, than the albatross nonsense?
Well, so I'm just trying to picture that, because again, I was that a compliment? You were on my side, right? You were defending me there.
A cross between a giant lizard and a stick insect.
Again, because they don't sound... straight away, they don't sound like compliments, but I'm assuming you're on my side here.
Stick insect with funny glasses? Is that...
But again, I thought, I was thinking you were perhaps being a touch more supportive, but these, you've not really... Carl, you've seen me dance, what are your views?
It's just like a bit of weird art.
That's brilliant! That is brilliant! That's so much better than albatross!
I wouldn't have said an albatross. I was looking at one of them the other day, and I don't understand what they mean by that, because they're dying out. They say, they dive in the sea.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Something happened in the brain. It went from the point we were making via an albatross, then it just shut off. It just ding, like a pinball.
Well, let's hear, because it's going to be another good point.
No, it's just saying how, because I've never seen one, and they were saying, how would you feel if you never saw one again? And I was like, I've got by this long without it. It's not bothered me. But it was just sort of saying, what they do is they dive in the sea, sort of put their head under the water, see if there's any fish knocking about, grab one, get out again, right?
Yeah.
Go to land. I don't know if they're designed to do that.
Well, obviously they are.
No, because seagulls are, because you see them floating about. Now, what's happening is they're doing that, but getting caught in nets.
Well, that's it. The net shouldn't be there. That's the point. They're totally adapted to their environment, but we came along millions and millions of years afterwards and stitched them up. It's not like people are going, well, the nets were always there. How did they evolve without getting caught in the net? We invented the net. We've only been knocking around for a few 100,000 years.
But what I'm saying is it's that thing about animals learn by mistakes by other animals. You know, like the monkeys peeling potatoes.
Right. That's never happened. They go and put nuts in the salt water to salt the nut.
Whatever.
How does that get to peeling potatoes? Because in your head, they were working in a canteen.
Making chips.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the food is. I'm just saying how they know how to sort of prepare
I
that
love
food.
the fact that you don't care what the fact is. When you're discussing facts, that's all that matters. Otherwise, on Mastermind, they just go, who wrote Much Ado About Nothing? Dickens? Yeah, close enough, whatever, someone did. The fact is what matters.
Yeah, but with that question, that's got a straightforward answer. What I'm telling you is the way that animals work. If it's a potato or a nut, it's a foodage.
And once again, I return you to my question as before. What's your point? What point were you making?
I'm just saying an albatross will find food. If you're hungry, you find food or you change your diet. If you don't eat something else, you die out. Simple. Said before. If you want a pie, but they haven't got any pies, you have a pasty. Alter your diet. And an albatross...
Drastically.
Yeah,
pies
radical.
Yeah, you said. Completely changing my diet. No more pies. What are you eating? Pasty. Brilliant. I'm not going to eat quiche anymore. I'm going to have a tartlet.
But you're getting more and more sort of single-minded in your...
No, single-celled.
Yeah.
It's not, though.
In your belief that everything you say has got some kind of profound implication and that no one else is listening, that we're all ignorant.
All right.
We're all not listening to what you're saying.
Here's another one.
Go on.
Here's something else I discussed.
Oh, come on. This will be good.
In series
This will be as good as E equals MC squared.
The people aging backwards idea.
Well, it's not an idea.
They've done something on it, saying how
No, they haven't.
a baby has been messing about with emails. Right?
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
God!
a 65-year-old doesn't know how to use email. So, again, my system works. So say if you're an old person, you're not using the internet, but you shouldn't be anyway, because you should be sort of just getting used to life as an old person. When you're a baby and you're about to die, they're using the internet.
I don't know what you mean. When you're a baby and you're about to die.
This is if
This
this
is the
was
aging
your
backwards
world. If
idea,
it was
yeah.
your world. Well, let me just ask a couple of
Sorry,
questions.
that makes no sense at all. What you've that makes no sense
I'm just
at all.
saying that my theory...
You may as well have hit a wok
what I'm
to
saying,
express that point, because they're...
The pong,
Yeah.
that would have made more sense.
See, this
It'd
is
be
why-
more profound.
This is why
more resonant.
This is why Wendy's having a go, though, because you're not being open-minded. You're not thinking about...
But we're being open-minded to good ideas, to sensible thought, to intellectual considerations. We're not being open-minded to this utter drivel.
Yeah, but every invention is a bit... Who'd have thought the Frisbee would have caught on?
That's not... I don't think that can count as an invention,
Of
though.
course it is. People are paying for it. Someone said, I'm going to invent something
But
you can
people
chuck
are
about.
paying for carrots. But they're not an invention. Because you pay for something, it doesn't mean it's an invention.
No, but a man-made thing. A Frisbee, it didn't grow off a tree, did it? Someone's made that and gone, I can sell this. And people are buying it. You know, all I'm saying is things change, don't they? You know, the albatross is dying out. The way, like when I walked into the flat, right, we've had hot weather, haven't we? We've had a lot of flies knocking about. Now, when I was younger, I never saw flies sort of hanging about in gangs. Whereas...
I Would they have little motorbikes?
No, just you'd sort of see one would get in the house, my dad would kill it or whatever, but you'd never see three. You wouldn't be going, which one am I going to get first and everything. They'd come in, they'd exit out of a window or whatever. Whereas I walked in on a bit of activity.
There's nothing to eat here.
Right? 3 flies in the flat, right? All sort of whizzing around,
Right.
all together, right? So I just sort of think, let them be. They seem to be happy. They're playing around with each other, right? Sat down, reading the paper, look up, right? It was like the one was trying to have it away with one of the flies, and the other one was having a go as well. It turned out it was a little fly that didn't want any of the action, but 2 were attacking it.
How could you possibly gauge that?
Just by watching. That's how you learn, isn't it? You watch.
But no, this is conjecture.
No, I did. It's the way they were sort of jumping on it and stuff, and I was like, I'm not happy with this going on, under my roof sort of thing.
My house, my rules.
But it's a nightmare because it's small. You can't control it. You don't know which one's which. You might end up sort of pushing out one that's the baddie.
What are you
and you're pushing
talking
out,
about?
I'm just saying.
Why are you getting involved?
Just because creatures are changing all the time.
What are you talking about? What point are you making?
I'm just saying the way that flies used to be happy-go-lucky, on their own, the sun's out, have a fly about.
Whereas nowadays...
now, there was like little attacks going on.
But how could you tell which were the 2 aggressors and which was the victim? How could you distinguish?
This was the problem. I mean, all I was looking at was which one they kept attacking. And I was thinking, if I can get that one in the bedroom and then get the other 2 out the window...
What are you...
Just breaking it up. Because what sort of a person would I be to let that go on?
I don't know what he's talking about. He has no feelings for anything. He doesn't care if whole species die out. Why are you getting involved?
That's where you're wrong, because I think more than most people. I think there's a lot of people who just go through the motions.
Yeah.
They do the same thing every day. They can do a job, but that's all they stick to. They don't think about what them flies do.
Carl,
what's that
I've
lady
known
doing?
you for, 4 years, and all you ever say is things like, why do we have jellyfish?
No, I haven't mentioned the jellyfish today.
But it's the same old shit. You look at something, you make up your own story, and then your conclusion annoys you, even though it's totally fatuous.
Like I say, the man with the frisbee, what happens if he had a mate who said, it's rubbish that? He wouldn't have done it.
I love the fact that you think the frisbee is the pinnacle of invention.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
No, it's an example of something that, if he was on some programme where you said, I've invented this, they'd go, get out. They wouldn't give him time of day to say, right, I've made this thing, it's out of plastic, you throw it about. What for? Well, you just chuck it about on the beach. What's the point? It was a bit of fun, innit? No, I don't like it.
That was an argument with himself.
No, but do you know what I mean? It's a popular little thing, and I'm just saying it's easy to put ideas down.
But you've never even come up with an idea as good as the frisbee, and that's saying something.
I came up with a clippable mat that goes on a cup, and it's a good little thing. I haven't followed it through yet.
A what?
A clippable mat.
What's a clippable mat? What does that
Clippable
mean?
mat that you stick on a cup, so you can put your cup down on a table without having to go, where's that mat? It's clipped to the cup all the time. And you put the cup down wherever you want because it's got a mat on it.
I think I've seen that.
But why does it have
No,
to be
you haven't.
clipped to
No, I
it?
think
Why
I
couldn't it
have.
just be built into the cup?
Because,
So it clips onto, you got our special cups. It doesn't
Yeah.
clip onto every cup.
no, but just the same way that every sauce is different. You don't say, I'm sick of this sauce, it doesn't fit a mug. You use the sauce of that. I mean, I don't use sauces. You just don't buy that sort
But
of
isn't a
furniture.
saucer what you're talking about?
Kind of, yeah, but it's clippable.
But why is the clippability so important to you?
So you don't have to keep finding the mat when you put the cup down. It's constantly clipped to the
But why
cup.
does it have to be clippable? Because that suggests it's removable. Why not just have something where it's constantly attached? What's to stop you from losing that in much the same way as you lose the coasters? which
Do
have
we
caused
need
problem?
this? Do we need a
Well,
clippable coaster?
But let's ask him like it's the Dragon's Den. Let's ask
Okay,
him
yeah.
now.
What?
We've got money to invest
Yeah.
on your clippable
Right,
cup. Now
what's your
pitch
problem?
this idea to us. Tell how would you sell this
Well,
idea
you,
to
you
us?
just said, what was your question then?
Brilliant. So you're not listening. Let's start
No,
again.
I am.
Okay,
I
no,
just-
imagine you've walked in. You've
What
just
is it
walked
for?
in.
What is it for? Is it a coaster to stop the heat from the cup burning the varnish?
Rick, let him explain
or
this.
is it a saucer to stop
Well, Well, look
spills.
at it.
Let's have you pitch this idea to us. Just you've never met us before. We're investors. Tell us, explain this to us, sell it to us.
Right. We're living in a world where furniture is important to people. You spend a lot of money on it, don't they? Furniture.
Yeah,
There's so many
absolutely.
furniture shops out there.
Yeah,
All different types of wood from all over the world.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right. If something's come from the Amazon, you don't want a coffee stain on it.
No, you don't know.
Right. But we're living in a world as well where people don't use saucers.
What do you mean
when
they
you
don't?
go out, when you go out and buy, because people.
What do you mean we live in a world where they don't use saucers? Yeah, there's loads of saucers. Yeah.
Because I know people who buy cups singly
Right.
because there's only 2 people living in a flat. So you don't buy a big box, because in a big box of like plates and that, you get things like, you know, what's the plate that's above a saucer but below a plate?
The plate that's above a saucer, but below a plate. So it's a plate, but it's below a plate.
But it's a size that you sort of go, what am I doing with this?
So what would it be? A side plate?
Maybe,
A
but
plate that you'd have alongside your regular dinner plate,
No,
right?
you put a bread roll on or something in a restaurant.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but-
Okay.
but you
What's
don't
your
need
point? What do you
No,
mean? There's
this is fascinating to me. Because
What-
this is his best attempt now to
Okay.
try and attract investment.
do you know where your mats are at home?
I haven't got mats. Don't use them
Why not?
because it doesn't bother me. I haven't got any highly polished furniture from the Amazon.
Right, Steve, have you got any sort of...
I've got some coasters and I use the coasters.
And do you know where they are when you need one?
Well, yes, because they're always at the place where I would normally put down a mug of hot tea, i.e.
Yeah.
on a table or a coffee table.
Right, now...
I keep if I had a highly polished table from the Amazon, I'd keep my coasters on it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying now is, what happens if you get up with your cup of tea? You're a busy man, right? This is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. We're living in a world where people are busier than
Yeah,
ever.
go on.
Not everybody can sit down and enjoy a cup of tea sat in the same place.
Right.
You get up and you might move into another room.
You haven't got a polished table in there from the Amazon, so it doesn't
No, but
matter.
you might be working on another expensive table
Oh, fine. We'll have a coaster there
that
as
has
well.
a
then.
computer on.
My question is this. 1, does it fit all mugs? Or do I have to buy a special mug to have this special
Well,
bit
we
attached?
can work it whatever way you want. We can either look at the standard size mug and say, let's appeal to everyone, or we can get in touch with some mug company,
How is it clipped?
just like little plastic clips that clip onto it,
Yeah.
and then you clip it off and you clean it. They're dishwasher proof, by the way.
They don't need that
But
at all.
why can't you just make a mug that has something built in the base of the mug to prevent it from making the mark?
No, they don't
Because it's
need
only
that.
the heat that makes the mark, isn't it, really?
I just want to say now, that's a pointless idea, and I'm out.
Right, but what about the idea that you've just suggested then, with the mug with the saucer built in?
Yeah.
What about will we do that together?
But that's not your idea, that's my idea.
Yeah, but without my idea, you wouldn't have had that.
Well, but that's absurd. We're having a conversation, I've come up with an idea, now I've got the money.
Do you
I've
want-
got the money,
do you
and
want
I'm
him-
going to go off with that idea.
Yeah, you haven't painted it anyway, and it's a rubbish idea, and you couldn't.
It's not
paint.
rubbish, because I've just thought as well that'll be good for putting biscuits on the side as well.
Oh God!
Okay, no,
And
let's
that means we can get rid of that plate that I don't know.
By
what
the
to do
way,
with.
now this is broadcast. You can never patent this idea because it's out in public domain.
Rick, why don't we see if there's anyone out there who's willing to invest in this idea? Are you a mug manufacturer? Are you a mug designer? Are you someone who's got any interest whatsoever in this idea? Do you think it's a saleable idea? And more importantly, would it be not great to have a picture of Carl's face on the mat?
Because it's perfectly round
Perfectly round.
as well, and you'd scold him every time.
Yeah.
You.
So there'd be a certain satisfaction in that.
Yeah. Well, if Peter Jones is listening, or that Valentine fella, or what's his name?
Any of the big investors on that show, or indeed
Yeah.
any investors anywhere, podcast@rickygervais.com. Get in touch. Tell us how we can move forward with this brilliant new idea.
Pathetic.
Oh, chimpanzee, that is gone and written it down, the little...
The jingle that signifies another reading from Carl Pilkington's diary. Got up and put the radio on. I listened to the story that the vicar read on Radio 2.
Yeah, that could be it.
He was saying how Jesus was 33 when he died. He said he was more into the idea of doing a lot in your life than living for ages. This was linked to the news about the doctor who's come up with some stuff that he's been injecting himself and his wife with that makes you age better. I looked it up on the internet. It wasn't worth them doing it because they are already old looking. I don't know why people want to stay looking young. You can wear a bald head better if you're old because hairs are replaced by wrinkles.
It's the drivel.
No, it's not drivel. It's
Pointless. A pointless entry to a diary, that.
It's not, because that could be a like an important bit in like world history.
What?
The fact that someone's trying to make people not age. Age is good, isn't it? When you see an old
It's been
person,
going forever.
what has?
People trying to age better.
No, but he's talking about if you're 90